What was your wedding like? Faye and I met in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at a weekend church choir workshop. Four churches combined for the event, and I was the resident expert. As the old saying goes, the farther away from home you travel, the bigger expert you become. Faye's home choir director had met me and knew my work through our annual National Church Convention in Virginia, where I directed a 125 voice festival choir and instrumental ensemble. He was the mastermind behind the workshop weekend. An auxiliary subversive plan he had not too far back in his mind was that Faye and I could meet and spend some time together during the weekend. I attended the local church in Pittsburgh, and by wandering around the congregation before the service began, I coincidentally met Faye, and she and I had a nice conversation prior to the beginning of church. After church, Earl Hinn, workshop organizer, scarfed me up and headed toward Faye for the introduction. Much to his surprise, he found out we were already well acquainted. That evening, the Hens hosted a dinner that Faye attended, and we enjoyed the food greatly and lengthy conversation. The following morning, I canceled my flight home and spent a couple of extra days in Pittsburgh. In the weeks that followed, Faye and I corresponded several times and spent more time and money on old fashioned long distance phone calls than our budget should have allowed. Now, 40 years ago, a $300 phone bill was somewhat staggering. After long talks and counseling with her pastor, it was decided that Faye would move to Chattanooga and explore a more serious relationship. Two local church members rose to the occasion. One lady provided a rented room for Faye in the Hickson area, and another member was vice president of M&M in Cleveland, Tennessee, where he provided a temporary job for her. She later took a position with Chattanooga Office Supply, where she worked on her mastery of Southern dialect comprehension. The move south had taken place in March of 1983, and by the fall of the year we had decided to marry. The marriage took place November 26, 1983. I was not involved in public education at that time. I had opened a private music studio where I taught very basic piano to beginners, also some percussion lessons and choral workshops, much in the manner of the one I had conducted in Pittsburgh. For additional cash flow, I maintained a window washing business that I had named PhD Window Service. Each time I wrote an invoice, I was reminded that I needed to complete my doctoral dissertation and music education degree from Florida State. As it worked out, I did finish the writing and testing for the School of Music and was awarded terminal credentials just 2 days before my 5 year limit expired for completion of the program. My roommate also contributed to the financial needs of the household. He received a disability check from Social Security to help compensate for his blindness. Keith Hately was a fine professional musician and artistic pianist. He also taught lessons in the studio. It was during those low cash flow days that Faye and I planned a meager wedding. Faye is a gifted seamstress and was able to create her own wedding dress. I owned a tux from my involvement in music concerts around the region. Memory fails as to what bridesmaids wore, but my three groomsmen wore spiffy baby blue tuxedos. Friends and ladies from church made a vast array of classy sandwiches, party treats, and punch for the reception. Another friend even created a very nice wedding cake. My mailman from the Highland Park part of town was a professional musician on the side. He and his friends provided a very skilled band for the entertaining and dancing at the reception. Brother Willie was happy to sit in with the band, putting a high level of professionalism in the ensemble. We were able to present a very classy wedding on truly a shoestring budget. As I remember, we executed the entire event and did not break the $1,000 mark. Pastor Harold Rhodes officiated the service. Pastor Bill Cowan was my best man. Jim Hahn and Lawrence Cotton were the groomsmen. Faye's sisters, Joyce and Carol, were her maids of honor. Karen Tollner was pianist and Carla Daly played flute. Extravagance was apparently not of necessity, as the marriage has lasted over 40 years to date.